All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Mekakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops at Great Millstone. I'm your brother, Rabbi Knapp, coming out with a lesson. Lord's will, this is edifying to the Lord's elect. I found this on the gatewaypundit.com. It says, update, FBI joint search for missing retired Air Force general who led U.S. military research lab that develops directed energy technology. Now, directed energy technology is the same tech that's, direct energy tech is pretty much, these weather manipulation type shit. The things that happened in Maui, that was part of it too. The things you see with Maui, some of these other forest fires. Some of them are they implemented, but people actually burning things. But then there's others who like Maui, for example, where they reported of seeing all different types of lasers and things like that. But I say that to say, that's what Esau got. Esau got the dew of heaven. Let me grab this in the book of Genesis 27 in verse number 37. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord, talking about Jacob, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? So at this point in Genesis, the 27th chapter, Jacob supplants, or he basically takes Esau's blessing, okay, by acting like he's him. Okay, Genesis 27 in verse number 38. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept, because he already gave his blessing over to Jacob. So now he's crying for a blessing. Genesis 27, verse 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And I was just bringing that out because the fatness of the earth is everything, and the dew of heaven from above is pretty much going into the same thing. But through the Spirit, we know he got technology that allows him to manipulate the weather, because he has it on the left-hand side. All right, going into those direct energy weapons. That's part of Esau's blessing. Now this man here, this develops directed energy technology. He's missing. Okay, and right now Esau is trying to use some like laser technology that shot down jets. News. The new laser that can take down aircraft. So he's trying to implement, our lasers will be ready to intercept Iranian missiles in under 5 years. So this is something Esau's been working on, because right now in the news, the biggest thing is that his munitions are running out. He's spending $12 million to knock down $35,000 drones. But the Iranians supposedly have so many drones that even though you might knock down a majority of them, all he needs is one or two to get in there, to get past all your defenses. And he's blowing up billion-dollar radar systems and things like that. And all of a sudden, this man here is missing. And this is March 3rd. The FBI has now joined the search for retired Major General William Neal McCaslin, who was reported missing in New Mexico. The Gateway Pundit previously reported retired Major General McCaslin, who previously commanded the Phillips research site at Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico, has been reported missing since Friday. So that's a big deal. You know, sometimes when you hear stories like this, it makes you think, what was he actually working on, or what does he truly know? You know, and then you got to think too. Just because he's missing, don't necessarily mean he's dead. Sometimes, other countries. You know, there was a report of a ex fighter pilot that was teaching Chinese fighters how to fly certain jets and things like that. You know, right now, Esau's tongue is falling upon himself. You know, like Eric Snowden. I don't know what his deal is. He's just missing. But that's kind of weird. You know, no one knows where he's at. FBI's looking into it. That's some crazy stuff, man. Especially the times that we're living in. You know, knowing this laser technology, this could be game changing. You know, bringing in lasers for these drones. The cost of shooting a laser, Esau's been actually using some of this stuff. I went to look up the laser technology because 2 fighter jets, it was friendly fire jets, Iran-Israel war from aircraft to lives, why friendly fire can be such a big enemy. Kuwaiti jets suspected of taking down 3 U.S. F-115s in friendly fire. All you need to know about the F. Let me see if they say anything about lasers. Laser. Nothing. But it was weird that this was a friendly fire. They knocked down 3 of their jets. Kuwaiti jets suspected of taking down 3 U.S. F-15 in friendly fire. All you need to know about the F-18 Hornet. 3 U.S. Strike Eagle fighter jets went down over Kuwait on Sunday in what American officials have described as an apparent friendly fire incident amid escalating hostilities linked to Iran conflict, according to reporting by Wall Street Journal citing people familiar with the preliminary findings. A Kuwaiti 18 Hornet is suspected of having mistakenly launched missiles that struck the U.S. aircraft during joint operations. So that's not laser tech. I just know those 3 is weird that these systems are shooting at their own. You would think that their technology would, be compatible with one another and communicate with one another. But that just shows you Esau's technology isn't 3 of them. I could see 1, but 3 all in the same day is just that's kind of weird to me. Isaiah 19 verse 14. The Lord have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. So he's causing Egypt to err in every work everything that he does. And then he can't even control it. He don't even have fully autonomous tech yet. But these are the type of things that could happen when you rush everything. You know, he'll be sending people out to go fight a different nation, and then next thing you know, you're shooting your own ships down. Let's keep going. It says, McCaslin served 3 years as the commander of the Phillips Research Site. I read that the investigation into the McCaslin disappearance is being led by Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office, and on Tuesday afternoon, the office announced it has partnered with FBI Albuquerque Field Office. In a post on X, Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office stated, due to his background in established partnerships, BCSO is coordinating closely with multiple agencies, including the FBI Albuquerque Field Office, which is assisting as standard practice when it has a tool, tactic, or technique that may benefit the investigation of BCSO remains the lead agency. It's just weird. How can somebody, like that just disappear? Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office continues the active search and investigation into the disappearance of 68-year-old William Neal McCaslin, who was last seen on Friday, February 27, 2026 at approximately 11 a.m. in the area Quail Run Court NE. The FBI has joined the search for a retired U.S. Air Force general who once led a site long rumored to be tied to UFO research after he was reported missing in New Mexico. Retired Major General William Neal McCaslin, 68, was last seen in Albuquerque about 11 a.m. Friday, local authorities said. The Benillo County Sheriff's quickly issued a silver alert, a system often used for missing people with medical issues amid concerns for safety and well-being. The feds have since confirmed they are assisting the sheriff's office as well as New Mexico search and rescue as the effort stretched into its fourth day. The FBI Albuquerque field office is involved in this investigation as it is standard practice. You just read all that. So he's just missing. But the fact that he's working on direct energy technology in the military is pointing towards the fact that they actually have this type of technology. Let me grab this in the book of Zechariah, the 14th chapter. Zechariah 14, and I'll start at 9. And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. In the day shall there be one Lord, and his name one. All the land shall be turned as a plain from Geba to Ramon, south of Jerusalem, and it shall be lifted up and inhabited in her place. From Benjamin's gate unto the place of the first gate, unto the corner gate, and from the tower of Hananeel unto the king's wine presses. And men shall dwell in it, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited. And it shall be as the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. So this is talking about thermonuclear destruction. Okay, that's what's going to happen. But after that, that's how we're going to get into the kingdom. Zechariah 14, verse 13, it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from the Lord shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. Now, I believe this is going into Jacob's trouble. Let's look this up real quick. Zechariah 14, verse 13. A great panic from the Lord that will cause enemy nations attacking Jerusalem in the end times to turn on one another. As part of this divine judgment, soldiers will seize their neighbors and fight each other, causing an internal confusion and conflict among the opposing forces. The panic is sent directly by the Lord following a plague that causes their flesh, eyes, and tongues to rot while they stand. That sounds like Jacob's trouble. Zechariah 14, verse 14. And Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance. And so shall be the plague of the horse, of the mule, of the camel, and of the ass, and of all the beasts that shall be in these tents as this plague. Zechariah 14 and 15, this plague mirrors the severe affliction on the soldiers themselves as noted in Zechariah 14 and 12 through 15. And it shall come to pass, Zechariah 14 verse 16, it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So this is when we're in the kingdom. After the destruction, Jacob's trouble, all of that's completed. You know, the elect get raised up and go into the chariots, and they come back down. The kingdom's being established. Okay, you go into slavery, you got to come up, and you always got to come up to Jerusalem and worship the Feast of Tabernacles. Zechariah 14, verse 17. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. So that's the reason why I'm bringing this out, is because it shows you on the right-hand side, we're going to have ability to manipulate the weather. Okay? So if we're going to have that, Esau got like a pseudo blessing from Isaac, because it's when you read Genesis, the 27th chapter, you see that we both got the dew of heaven. We got plenty of corn and oil, or corn and wine. I think it's corn and oil he gave us, but it's going into that corn and that oil to sustain us is this word. Okay, that's not part of Esau's blessing. That's why he believes, you know, he's subject to believe a bunch of bullshit, nonsense. Because these scriptures aren't his blessing. He believes in falsehoods, witchcraft, fake shit. You know, shit that's going to get him destroyed. He is as deaf. Let's go into our blessing real quick. Genesis 27. In 25, and he said, bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did it, and he did eat. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Isaac said unto him, come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, see, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field, which the Lord hath blessed. Therefore God give thee the dew of heaven. So same thing like Esau. So we're going to have the same capability. We're going to have the direct energy technology, but on the right-hand side, it's going to be spiritual. And the fatness of the earth, just like Esau has control over the earth, we're going to have control over the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Now, this is going into the scriptures. Okay, we're going to have wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Let the people serve thee, and the nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren. That includes Esau. We're going to be lords over him. And let thy mother's sons bow down to thee, which is the rest of the nations. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. So our blessings are similar, but not really. Zechariah 14, verse 16, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And I believe the plague is going into these and it shall be the plague of the horse, of the mule, and of the camel, and of the ass, and of all the beasts that shall be in these tents as this plague. You know, so you're gonna get the plague. You ain't gonna have any any rain either. That's all part of it. Zechariah 14 in verse 19. This shall be the punishment of Egypt, and the punishment of all the nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. In that day shall there be upon the bells of the horses holiness unto the Lord, and the pots in the Lord's house shall be like the bowls before the altar. Yea, every pot in Jerusalem and in Judah shall be holiness unto the Lord of hosts, and all they that sacrifice shall come and take of them, and sieve therein, and in that day there shall be no more the Canaanite in the house of the Lord of hosts. So when we get back in the land, you know, the heathen are going to still come to worship, and if they don't, we're going to manipulate the rain so that we're going to be able to send plagues. We're going to be able to they're not going to have any rain, so they're not going to have any crops to grow. So they're going to have to follow, keep the Feast of Tabernacles pretty much. All right. But it also goes to show you that, we're going to have the same type of technology, but just not like Esau with he got some left-handed side carnal means of doing it. He probably got satellites. He probably got all types of, who knows how he's doing it up there. He got movies on it. I forgot what movie it was, but they were going around destroying shit because they were able to control the weather. All right. So we're gonna be doing the same thing, but we're gonna have it on the right-hand side. NATO members feel the heat from the Iran war, but the bar for the bloc to act is high. So what this is talking about? I know Article 5 was about to be implemented because Iran, supposedly, because people are saying online that there's a lot of controversy, I guess you can say, about why would Iran bomb Cyprus? Why would Iran bomb Azerbaijan? Why would it bomb Turkey? So these are NATO allies. So what they're saying is that they think there's some third party trying to set Iran up for so they can set up Article 5, which allows, let's look up Article 5. It's pretty much these nations come together. If you attack one nation, they all come together and work against you. So they really trying to set Iran up for the fall. Article 5 most commonly refers to either the NATO Mutual Defense Clause. An attack on one is an attack on all, and that's what it is. You attack one European nation, all of them attack you. NATO members are feeling the heat from the war in the Middle East as Turkey reports a missile from Iran was shot down and a UK base in Cyprus was targeted by drones. The Military Alliance Secretary General Mark Rutte said on Tuesday that it would defend every inch of NATO's territory if needed, but the bar is high for NATO's collective defense agreement known as Article 5 to be triggered. Okay, and debris of a NATO air defense system that intercepted a missile launched from Iran is seen in Dortoil in southern Hatay province, Turkey, March 4th, 2026, in his screen grab from video. So this shows, just an escalation. But it shows how they're trying to pretty much, because Iran also said that they ain't going to give up. With oil prices going up, the duck is saying oil prices are not going up. They're obliterating them. They destroyed their navy. They sunk a ship in the Indian Ocean. As a matter of fact, I was trying to look that up. The ship that the America sunk in the Indian Ocean, that was Iranian news. U.S. sub sinks Iranian warship off Sri Lanka, killing 87 in expanding war zone. So the reason why this is significant is because the East Indians, invited the Iranians before the war to come and participate in some type of display or something. So this ship didn't even have any no weapons on it. And let me see. What did Pete Hegseth say? What did Pete Hegseth say about the Iranian warship that was destroyed in the Indian Sea? News. So he was kind of happy about it. Like, this didn't even have any weapons on it, so he was like proud about that. Yeah, we shrunk it. We sunk it. Listen, let's read it. The U.S. sank in an Iranian. Let me click this on this. Warship in international waters. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said Wednesday as it intensified its bombardment with Israel and Iran's security forces and other symbols of power. Tehran vowed to completely destroy the Middle East military and economic infrastructure, signaling the war was nowhere near over and could expand further. Hegseth said a torpedo from a U.S. submarine sank an Iranian warship. He did not name the ship, but earlier an Iranian warship sank off the coast of Sri Lanka. In a Pentagon briefing, Hegseth said that the Tuesday night strike on an Iranian warship was the first such attack on an enemy since World War II. An American submarine sunk an Iranian warship that thought it was safe in international waters, Hegseth said. Instead, it was sunk by a torpedo. So these niggas, they didn't even have any. They weren't going there for war. He sunk this shit, and then he's addressing it like he did something ill. Like, he saw us out of his fucking mind, man. And he's saying, oh, man, this is just crazy shit. Sri Lankan authorities said 32 people were rescued from the Iranian ship and that others died. The tempo of the strikes on Iran was so intense that the state television announced the mourning ceremony for Iranian supreme leader who was killed in the conflict would be postponed. Millions attended the funeral of his predecessor, Ayatollah Khamenei, in 1989. But they boasting about something that's just kind of, it's like a coward move. This shit wasn't even, and then the crazy part is India played a part in it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they start getting bombed too. But anyways, let me get back over here. This picture shows debris of a NATO air defense system that was intercepted a missile from Iran headed to Turkey earlier this week. Like, Turkey came out of nowhere. Now they just want to bomb Turkey. So that's what they're saying online, but this is what they're saying, drones coming from Turkey. As members of the military alliance feel the heat from the war in the Middle East, Iran has been attacking multiple countries in response to U.S. and Israeli strikes against it. It has struck the UAE, Bahrain, Oman, Kuwait, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia. Its northern neighbor, Azerbaijan, said an Iranian drone injured 2 civilians on Thursday. So, people are just calling it out that they think this is fake because it's escalating the war in Iran. Who would benefit too? You know who. Countries further afield, the least of the flock. Countries further afield have also been impacted with drones targeting a British airbase in Cyprus this week. While Turkey said NATO air and missile defense system shot down a missile heading for its airspace on Wednesday. Both countries are members of NATO, bound by Article 5, so it's treaty to unite in defense of any member that is attacked. But you can't do nothing for Ukraine. When it comes to Ukraine, there's no uniting and nothing. But when it comes to Iran, it's like now you want to transform like Power Rangers. Like that shit don't make any sense. So that's how you know they're willing to transform when it comes to, it just shows the hypocrisy of that Article 5 bullshit. Now you want to use it on Iran. Well, it's just bullshit, man. And that's why everyone's getting pissed off at this shit because there's nothing you can even trust. Visiting North Macedonia on Tuesday before Turkey claimed it had shot down the Iranian missile, NATO Secretary Mark Rutte called Iran an exporter of chaos that posed far-reaching danger, but he added that the alliance collectively defend every inch of NATO's territory if needed. Oh man, I'm not gonna read it all, but it just shows you that this place is escalating. So if you worried about the gas prices now, let me see. So 2 days ago I paid $2.95. Right before I came in, I just paid $3.05. So it went up 6 cents the first day. Now it's up 16 cents in 2 days. Okay, and the way he's addressing the issue is saying there is no issue. Everything's getting better. Marine veteran charged after removal from Senate committee hearing. No one wants to fight for Israel. This dude got a full-blown Marine got his arm broken for discussing that the Americans shouldn't go to war with Iran. And it's the weird part is when you watch the video, I ain't gonna play it here. Nobody won't even turn around and acknowledge what was going on. So it shows you that, in my opinion, the MOTB's already out, man. People already got it, and that's why they're not gonna give a fuck when it comes to passing all these laws. You think people will have integrity and fight? He probably ain't got the MOTB, but these other motherfuckers do. So, it's like Manchurian candidate right now, man. This is why, these are all spirits. You look at it carnally, you might think, you might forget the spiritual aspect of it, man. You got to remain in the spirit about these things, man. The Lord got all these spirits, and you got to do what he told you to do to navigate this place. Now, we're spiritual people. That's why you gotta wait upon the Lord. He's the one that's getting the victory. This is his battle. This is his name that's on the line. Okay, and all you gotta do is sit still and watch. The Lord's not telling us to do anything. We gotta watch, and he's exposing this devil every single day. All right, he's destroying this place every single day. Even though he's lying about it, Esau's lying about it because that's what these people want to hear. That's all they want to hear is lies. Let me grab this in the book of Isaiah 30 and verse number, I'll start at 9. It says that this is a rebellious people, lying children that will not hear the law of the Lord. Now this is talking about Israel, of course, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits. And that's what's going on with the people, man. They want to hear these lies too. They don't want to hear the truth. Capitol Police charged Brian Mcginnis with assaulting officers after he was physically removed from a congressional hearing Wednesday, with video of the altercation showing the Marine veteran screaming, "No one wants to fight for Israel," as Senator Tim Sheehy Armont helped law enforcement eject Mcginnis. So I saw this. This is like the first thing I saw this morning. I watched the whole video. I was thinking like, yeah, he going in, and you could tell that he wasn't. This wasn't fake, man. He wasn't. He was ready to die for what he believed in. And he went viral today doing that. You would think more people would be like him, and especially you proud to be an American. You people are full of shit. You people are full, and you can see it all over the internet. Everyone's for all the shenanigans. They protect that, but when someone's speaking up rightly about that, they hate that. What he did was an honorable thing, especially from the eyes of the world. Now that might not be an Edomite though. Jake could stand up for. There's only so much he could take. Some of these so-called white people are Israelites. That's a noble thing to stand up for something righteous. Meanwhile, Edomites, they hate righteousness. They'll support wickedness, build their bunker and shit, and they don't even know. That's why they're gonna be destroyed. Okay, Amos chapter 5 and verse number 10. They hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. So he was speaking uprightly. He ain't got his arm broken because of it. But if he's Israel, he need to repent, man. This place is out of here. There's nothing you could do about it. The Lord wants it. You find yourself fighting up against the Lord. You trying to save Babylon? This shit's already gone, man. You better be prepared for the long haul, for the Lord to return, because this is the Lord's battle. There's nothing you can do. There's no arms you can. There's no group you can get with. The only group you need to get with is the elect, and no one knows who is who. You just got to make your calling and election sure. Don't waste your time in this world, man. Getting your arm broken at the door, trying to talk to some people who got chips in their brains, man. Video posted by CBS News. Allen, he shows 3 Capitol police officers trying to remove Mcginnis, who describes himself as a Marine veteran and Green Party political candidate, before he is seen joining them in lifting Mcginnis' leg. Anyways, long story short, he claims they broke his arm and shit. But hey, this is the times we living in, man. People are getting sick of this damn devil just doing, because he ain't bringing his, he ain't going to war. Everyone's on that, I love Babylon so much. All right, well, you can go get put to death for it too then. Since you love it so much. U.S. tests Doomsday missile amid Iran war. It can strike any place on Earth. So the Doomsday missile, the Minuteman III test launch was scheduled years ago and is not in response to world events, the U.S. said amid a raging war with Iran. New Delhi, the U.S. tested the unarmed Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile, dubbed the Doomsday missile, amid a raging war with Iran. And you keep hearing Doomsday, you keep hearing prophecy, you're hearing Armageddon. This is all in the news. This is all prophetic language that these newspapers are using. So it's like you can't even deny the fact, and a lot of y'all don't even read the Bible. So you people are screwed, man. People are screwed. And then you listen to the bullshit. I was just watching the video, 2 old black women on the video talking about Armageddon and shit. Where the hell were you? Now you want to talk? Like, get the fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. You don't know shit. Let me grab this precept. I forgot where it's at. I think it's 2nd Esdras, the 8th chapter. Let me put it in my phone. Nope. 2nd Esdras 7. 2nd Esdras 7 and verse 43. I start at 42. Second Ezra 7 verse 42. He answered me and said, this present life is not the end where much glory doth abide. Therefore have they prayed for the weak. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time, and the beginning of the immortality for to come, wherein corruption is past. So that's what we're waiting for, man, which is the day of doom is the Lord's vengeance. Let's look this up. As a matter of fact, let's put this in the chat. Let's see if we can elaborate on this a little bit more. But the day of doom, the day of judgment, when the Lord judges the earth. And that's when he sends his son. Word definition, doom, judgment, final sentence, decree. Ecclesiastes 12 verse 14, for the Most High shall bring every work into judgment. Romans 14 verse 10, for we shall all stand before the judgment seat of the Messiah. Joel 3 verse 14, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near. Explanation, Ezra is being told that the current world is moving toward a final judgment day where the Most High decides the fate of everyone. That's right. Because that fate is going into Jacob's trouble too. You know, it's all a test of your faith. And if you don't have any faith in that time, you're going to be destroyed. This refers to the end of the current world age, the corrupt system we live in. And this is current. Explanation, this present age of wickedness ends when the Lord returns in judgment. That's right. Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So that means the Edomites would be ruling in these last days. And we're seeing all this wickedness showing you that it's Esau. He's the one that's in power. And the beginning of the immortality for to come. After judgment comes a new age where the righteous receive immortality, eternal life. Word definitions. Immortality, eternal life, not subject to death. Greek idea used in New Testament, athanasia, deathlessness. Going to 1 Corinthians 15, that's right. After the destruction of this age, the righteous inherit eternal life in the kingdom. So this is the times we're coming into. That's why all this heavy prophetic language is being used. Even mainstream, people who, even these talking hosts can't ignore prophecy. It's coming to the point where you can't ignore it anymore. Okay? The Lord ain't having, he said, what did he say? He said something about, I forgot what he said. He was talking about giving praise to his prophet, something like that. He said, I'll give praise to my servants or something like that. I forgot where, but he's gonna make his word known, man. He's not holding it back. It started with all the different celebrities, and I wouldn't be surprised because eventually the main talking point is going to be trying to get Israel, trying to make us look bad, the men of the Lord. These Christians, they already, it tells you in the book of, I think it's John, it might be Luke 16. No, I don't know why I'm thinking 16, maybe John 16. Yeah, John 16:1. These things have I spoken unto you, that ye should not be offended. They shall put you out of the synagogues. Yea, the time cometh that whosoever killeth you will think that he doeth God's service. So they're going to be calling us blasphemous. No, God loves everybody. You got to be prepared for that, man, because these people, this is why the Lord tells you to count the cost. Because to the world, you probably look like a complete damn demon. But are you going around bombing kids in schools? No. Are you grabbing arms and fighting? No. We ain't even storing no food. I don't got shipments of water and shit like that and nothing. I just got faith in the Lord. That's it. That's all I got. And if that ain't enough, then hey, then it's not for me. It wasn't for me. It was for me to suffer. But you know, in my mind, I don't see me suffering at all. I think the Lord got me. Every day He allows me to live is just it just adds on to my faith I had from the day before. You know, He didn't give me over. He allows me to keep pushing His word. Hey man, that's power because that's chopping this nigga's kingdom down. You know, so every day that the Lord allows me to live, hey, it's all, hey, that's good. That's a good sign. And all the men that's doing the work every day, you see them. Hey, that's showing you that's power from the Lord because He's the one fighting for us. There's nothing that we're doing off our own might. I talk about smacking people, dropping them, breaking them up, and all that. But even if the Lord give you the power to do that's all praises to the Lord. John 16, verse 3. And these things will they do unto you because they have not known the Father nor me. So these people don't know the Lord. And the Lord warned us about these things. They're not standing up stiffly for the name. They don't even know the name of the Lord. You're talking to a Christian about the name of the Lord, you'll be talking to him for hours. But you talk to a man of the Lord or, the hopeful elect, they're going to get it. They're going to be a quick understanding. All right. John 16, verse 4, but these things have I told you, that when the time shall come, ye may remember that I told you of them. And these things I said not unto you at the beginning, because I was with you. So that's Yahweh Shah's warning. Okay. People who think they're serving the Lord are going to put you to death. Who's that talking about? That's talking about Christians, man. Same people that call everybody white and black like some stupid, they're just dumb. Because at this point you should hate this place, man. You should absolutely hate this. Every ounce of your body, you should be pissed the fuck off that people, their mouths need to be stopped, man. It needs to be stopped, man. It's just it just blows my mind. It's like we're living in that movie Idiocracy. Everyone's a damn idiot, and it's not because they're not smart in math and all that. They don't know the Lord at all. And that's part of the affliction is you standing on truth. These people don't operate in truth; they operate in lies. That's why they follow the duck. They talk about he's anointed by Jesus. A lot of people believe that bullshit. All right. Now, don't get me wrong. Promotion comes from the Most High. So anyone in any form of power seat, it's all ordained from the Lord. No matter how big the position is or how small it is, it's all ordained from the Lord. So in that case, yes, Yahweh Shai did appoint him. It tells you that in 1 Corinthians, the first chapter. Colossians, the first chapter. Let me grab that. He got this is how the Lord, this is how Yahweh envisioned, but Yahweh Shai set it up this way. Colossians chapter 1 in verse 13, who have delivered us from the power of darkness and have translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son, in whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins, who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature. For by him were all things created. It's talking about Yahweh Shai, that are in heaven and that are in earth. Okay, so these different people that you see today, all things were created. He created the duck, visible and invisible, all these different spirits, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him. So these powers, they created, Yahweh Shai created it. Of course, with the authority, with the blueprint that was given to him by Yahweh. That's why we say Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. But this is talking about Yahweh Shai. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist. So, he's the one who physically created everything else outside of himself. Okay? But he was created by the Heavenly Father. And through him, everything else consists. So things that we're going through, this situation right here, it was all for the Lord. And this Doomsday missile too. As a matter of fact, let me grab this. I think it's Jeremiah Instruments. Um, Actually, it's armory I'm looking for. That's what the Lord's showing you. Every time you see a new missile you probably ain't hear of. I think they spell it with like Moury. Jeremiah 50 verse 25. The Lord have opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord Yahweh of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. So these different missiles that you see. Now this is coming from Babylon. So, you know, who knows where those missiles are going to go. But, you know, these intercontinental ballistic missiles, this Doomsday missile bullcrap, these things are going to be used. All these missiles are going to be used, whether they get shot from Babylon somewhere else or they get destroyed over here. He might try to send it and it might come right back around and hit his ass up. He might shoot himself. Fall on his sword, man. The test launch was equipped with 2 test reentry vehicles and was conducted on Tuesday from the Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, the Air Force Global Strike Command said in an official statement on Wednesday. The launch was scheduled years ago and is not in response to world events, it said. You know, just showing some pictures. I want to give me some information on this. It is a key component of a data-driven program that has been in place for decades, involving over 300 similar tests designed to validate the performance of the weapon system. Nope, let's go down. This long-range flight allows engineers and weapons experts from the 377th Test and Evaluation Group to collect invaluable data on the missile's accuracy and reliability, verifying that every component of the ICBM weapon system performs as designed, the statement read. The U.S. had earlier tested Minuteman III in November last year. Why Minuteman III is a doomsday missile? The Minuteman III is a nuclear-capable missile which is equipped with a single Mark 21 high-fidelity reentry vehicle. So this, who knows who this is going to hit. Ultimately, he might try to shoot this on Yahweh Shah. It has a range of 13,000 kilometers, damn, which means it can reach anywhere on Earth. It is the U.S. only non-mobile, silo-based, land-based, nuclear-capable ballistic missile. It can carry 3 independent warheads that can fly in different directions before hitting the ground. The current Minuteman III, however, has only 1 warhead each due to a nuclear weapons reduction treaty with Russia. It's called the Doomsday missile as once fired, Earth can become no longer livable due to radiation fallout everywhere. Damn. Minuteman III test raises eyebrows. The Minuteman III test has raised eyebrows as it has come amid the escalating U.S.-Israel war with Iran. The war in the Middle East broke out when the American and Israeli military forces launched an attack on Iran last Saturday, killing 86-year-old Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. I'm definitely not saying his name right. In response, Tehran has been firing missiles at Israel and at U.S. military bases in Gulf countries. Israel and the U.S. have also been attacking Iranian targets. So it says it is called the Doomsday missile as once fired, Earth can become no longer livable due to radiation fallout everywhere. So you're saying this one missile can destroy, just, that's so much radiation it puts out? Sure. U.S. will rain missiles, death and destruction on Iran, Duck aides say. And it's crazy that he's saying death and destruction, because that's what woe means. So, like, it's like multiple articles, you know, using biblical terminology. And that's not by that, you know, that's not by coincidence, man. This is, the Lord created all these things. He's letting his elect know that we getting closer to that time. Now, some people, they'll read this and they're not thinking the scriptures, but, I watch the news every day. I don't. This just happened. I'm hearing some articles I was reading before had precepts in with the newspaper. They're putting Bible verses in with the newspaper, man. Like, to me, that's profound. That's spiritual as hell. Whether you can receive it or not, but that's what I get from it when I see it. Because the Lord is showing you he's speaking, and not only that, there's no excuse. He's not leaving any excuses for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. He's making it plain upon tables. He's putting it in the news. He's having your government tell you that it's biblical prophecy. So, that's powerful. So that's what you trust in. So that's what he's telling you. Don't want to repent, even though your government told you that this is the time that we're in. All right. We'll see if how much Mary really likes you. Officials in the United States are claiming success in their campaign against Iran, stressing that Washington is in the process of crushing the government in Tehran without mercy. Hey, without mercy. It tells you in the book of James. Might be 2. James chapter 2. In verse 13, for he shall have judgment without mercy that have showed no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment. Let's look this up. The ESV warns that those who fail to show mercy, particularly through acts of partiality or failing to love their neighbor, will face the same merciless judgment. It concludes that mercy is superior to condemnation. So it's good that he's showing no mercy, because he's not going to have any mercy. He showed no mercy to Israel. He ain't showing any mercy to anyone else, and no mercy is going to be taken upon him. So he better go hard as hell. He better use that ICBM missile. Speaking to reporters on Wednesday, Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth said the U.S. military is loosening the rules of engagement and operating with little restraint as casualties, and including hundreds of civilian deaths, mount in Iran. So, yeah, loosen the restraints. They done bombed a school. They done bombed a hospital. So, you're not supposed to be doing that according to the Geneva Code. And they're going to loosen it. So, hey, that just opens the door for everyone over there. Duck's endgame in Iran. Iranian leaders are looking up and seeing only U.S. and Israeli air power every minute of every day until we decide it's over, and Iran will be able to do nothing about it, Hegseth said. Oh, shit, he sounds like he don't give a fuck about nobody over there. But I thought the Duck cared about the protesters and stuff. What about the protesters that you wanted to overthrow the government? This doesn't sound like you thinking about them. He added that U.S. jets over Iran are controlling the skies, picking targets, and bringing death and destruction from the sky all day long. So he's doing whatever the hell he wants. It's like he tells you, he got what do you call it? He got air control. He got control of the air. Let me grab this in the book of Ephesians, chapter 2, verse number 1. And you have he quickened who were dead in trespasses and sins. So quickened means to be made alive. We were dead in trespasses and sins. Sin is the transgression of the law, according to 1 John 3 and 4. We were walking according to the lust of the flesh, according to the lust of this world. And until we heard this word, then we changed our ways. Ephesians 2 and 2, where in times past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. Now, the prince of the power of the air is ultimately talking about Satan, okay? But he's using the so-called white man as he's the physical counterpart of the so-called white man. So, just like Satan controls the air, just like, you got airways, you got different frequencies and things like that. You know, they putting that wicked vibration out there within the music, within what you see on TV. It's the same thing with Esau controlling your different airspace. So that's just showing you who's in power of all that. He's the prince of the power of the air, and that's what he's showing you. He'll tell you you can't fly. No flight restrictions. You can't fly in this airspace. It's showing you who's saying that. It's not some spiritual demon Satan. He's using Esau to do it. This was never meant to be a fair fight, and it is not a fair fight. Hexif said, we are punching them while they're down, which is exactly how it should be. That sounds fucked up, man. You're punching them while they are down, and that's exactly how it should be. That's what Esau likes to do. He's a coward. He'll put handcuffs on you and then put a knee on your neck. That's just how he fights, and he's proud of that. He's not he's estranged from the womb. He goes straight as soon as he be born, speaking lies. So you might not get any. You might not feel good about doing that to somebody innocent, and that makes him feel good. Iran's foreign minister spokesperson Esmail Baghai said Hegshev's remarks represent an admission of war crimes and crimes against humanity. Right. And he's boasting in it. He don't give a fuck. What are you going to do about it? That's his mindset. He don't give a fuck. He's tripling down, quadrupling down on these things that are going on throughout the world. All right, they don't give a fuck. He even told Pam Bondi, "You got 3 more years here." He likes the work that she's doing. She's been caught in multiple lies. She had no respect for the victims of he's being accused of. Just that's what is going on. And then you see the people online. Oh, we got to get everyone out of here who's opposed to the government. So they're aligned with wickedness. They won't speak out against wickedness. But, before the last president, we got to get rid of Biden, and we got to do this and that. And he was a devil too. But it just shows you these people are just full-blown reprobates. That's why they can come on the news, say whatever the fuck they want to y'all. Because, anyways, you can't do anything anyways. I ain't saying that. I'm just saying that but the hypocrisy of people's thoughts is showing you that they're just evil. They're just a bunch of demons, man. That's where their spirit, they transgress the law, so their way of thinking, it's just like Isaiah the 5th chapter. Isaiah 5 verse 20. Woes for the wicked. I'm going to grab it in 5 verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. And that's what you're seeing. A whole backwards society, man. They look at evil and they call it good. They'll ignore all the wickedness because they're aligned with. Pedophilia is good for American people. They like that shit. They want that type of vibration upon them and their kids. They can live with that. They're fine with that. And that's just one of many things. And you're going to notice that as we get closer to the end, when the Lord starts taking away your bread, gas prices going up, your food prices going up, the same type of rhetoric that people talk, pay attention to that, because you want to remember these people's faces in that time, because they're not going to give a fuck about you. They're going to be that's the vibration of the people. You go to the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 10. It tells you the ruler of the city is so are the people. That's why you can hear their talking points. It's not aligned with the Lord. It's aligned with some carnal shit. Because that's how they think. Ecclesiasticus 10:2, as the judge of the people is himself. Now judge goes into your rulers. So are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. So they all got the same mindset as the ruler. Yeah, as long as you lying to me, I'm good with that. That's why he lies that way. You know. But that's why we just trust in prophecy. We don't believe nothing these devils say. Because we know they're fucking liars. We understand Psalm 58 and 3. These people that are in the world, they don't know scripture. They think this is just a book. Because they want to continue to live in a wicked society. They think that, I watch some, these people who, they stacking up all the, they getting tablets in case the nuclear destruction comes so they can piss out the radiation. Ain't gonna be, you can't piss out fire, man. That you out of here. Okay, everything you're doing is vanity. All right, and everything that you're storing up is for the elect. So you ain't gonna make it. That type of mindset, even if you are an Israelite, you got a bunker. You're out of here. It's only for the elect of Israel. Let me finish this up. This war was never meant to be a fair fight. I read that. Only a Nazi mentality can unleash in cold blood death and destruction on another nation just to satisfy the desires of his boss, by guy he wrote on next. That's all he wants to do. He wants to please the duck. And why does he want to do that? Hey, who knows? Because he's wicked. All right. If you're willing to back up somebody that's wicked, it's because you're wicked. It's just that simple. I mean, you got to call a spade a spade. Still, White House spokeswoman Carolyn Levitt echoed the U.S. Defense Chief's language later on Wednesday. In the next few hours, we'll be achieving that dominance over the skies, which means the United military will be raining missiles and weapons down on Iran to hit these specific targets that have been identified as crucial to take out by the Department of War, Levitt said. Iranian officials have reported many attacks by the U.S. and Israel on civilian targets, and including schools and hospitals across the country. So, look at that. Iran demands international action after attacks impact hospitals and schools. So, imagine that. Imagine that. You hit that hospital right there. You in there, you got wounded from another strike. Then he blows up the hospital that you went to. Hospitals across Iran have been damaged by U.S. Israeli strikes, but no reports of direct hits yet. Or no reports of direct hits. So they kind of hit it, but they ain't really hit it. Authorities in Tehran have called for international action and solidarity after several hospitals and schools were impacted by United States and Israeli airstrikes on the country as Iran continues to fire missiles and drones across the region. So, several. Oh, I thought it was just one. So it doesn't seem, he's talking all this precision. He got the Doomsday missile, can hit anywhere in the world, got 13,000 meter distance, but he can't avoid a hospital or a school. That's, I don't know. They just get attracted for some reason, the flight pattern. Stop putting kids next to schools. It's your fault. Iranian Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokeswoman Esmail Baghai said on Monday that the two countries continued to indiscriminately strike residential areas, sparing neither hospitals, schools, Red Crescent facilities, nor cultural monuments. These actions constitute the deliberate commission of the most heinous crimes of international concern. Indifference to this ongoing and extreme injustice will only further darken the future of humanity by jeopardizing the shared values upon which our global community stands, he wrote in a post on social media. And hey, that matches up with Isaiah 13. Isaiah chapter 13. Verse 17, it says, "Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it." So they're not going to want to stop this war in exchange for economic sanctions relief. That ain't going to work. Nah, we're good. We just want to see you get destroyed. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. Why? Because look what they're doing. Why should I be pitiful and go over the Geneva Code and help your people out? And nah, we had to suffer all of this, so that's why the Lord's gonna allow this to happen. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And how did he overthrow it? With fire and brimstone. He also said monitoring the support mechanisms outlined in the Geneva Conventions must be invoked, adding that the ICRC must adopt immediate measures to stop similar incidents from taking place again as the war rages. And it just started. 7 hospitals, residential areas. He said, I'm going to bomb them to hell and back, death and destruction. He going to rain death and destruction on them. The Red Crescent Society of the Islamic Republic of Iran, as a member of the Global Red Cross and Red Crescent movement, declares its full commitment to the fundamental of humanity, impartiality, and independence, emphasizing that damaged centuries had no military applications. ICRC said in a statement at the start of the war on Saturday that rules of war must be upheld as an obligation, not a choice. Civilian infrastructure such as schools, homes, such as hospitals, homes, and schools must be spared from attack. Medical personnel and first responders must be allowed to carry out their work safely, she said. Well, that's not going to be the same. Hospitals sustain damage. Not gonna read it all. School, sports center take hits. And that's pretty much it, man. So it doesn't look like he said he's punching you while you're on the ground. All right, so he don't really care how you feel. If someone's hitting you on the ground, and he don't give a fuck about you. He's gonna just keep smashing you. Okay, he's at a point saying what the fuck you gonna do about it. So you got allies, right? So you better go sit at the negotiation table, but you ain't got no king right now. The king got put to death, so who knows? But we know all these things are gonna accumulate to the point where, you're gonna go over there to the Valley of Jehoshaphat. That's what it's all about. Jeremiah 49:20, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. So you're going to be destroyed for your actions. It tells you in the book of Galatians, the 6th chapter, that you reap what you sow. I mean, it's plain. People think the Lord had this written because they don't understand. They read 2 chapters. That's it. Say the name Jesus a few times and pass the collection plate. And see you later. And we'll call you a saint. That's all you got to do. Nah, that's not how this works. Galatians 6 verse 9, and let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. So in due season we're going to reap if we faint not. And we grab this in the book of Galatians 6 and 7. Be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So you sow wickedness, you're going to get what you sow. Trump's Iran conflict cuts the world off from a crucial energy source. So you're cutting the world off from a crucial energy source from your actions, and you think the world is going to have something to say about that? That's why it tells you in the book of Revelations 11, verse 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come in the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And that's talking about Esau. He's destroying the earth. He's doing, what do you call it? He's, blowing up tankers, oil tankers, in the Indian Ocean and shit. So he's just causing all types of damage, man. And this shit needs to stop. All right. Let me grab this precept too. The earth shall rise up against him, KJV. Job 20 verse 27. The heavens shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. And that's what's going to happen. You know, he's causing the whole world from getting their energy and source. So they're all going to rise up against him. Liquid natural gas from Qatar was a safe energy bet for countries across Europe and Asia, and these are his allies. Now they face an energy crisis. So, they rely on this, this energy more so than us. Countries across Europe and Asia are facing a potential energy crisis after Iranian drone strikes shut down Qatar's exports of liquefied natural gas this week, cutting off nations from India to Italy from a crucial energy source and potentially increasing costs for key industries in the United States. Qatar is a linchpin of a global energy system built on LNG, a fossil fuel less polluting than coal that many countries have embraced because it is easy to ship and store and was sourced from generally stable countries. Now, consumers and businesses from Seoul and Islamabad to Brussels may face steeply higher energy costs after an Iranian drone struck Qatar's largest gas liquefaction plant in Ras Laffan, South Doha, on Monday. The strike was part of attacks by Iran on energy infrastructure in Qatar and fellow U.S. ally Saudi Arabia. So they know what they're doing. They're attacking these because that's where they're really gonna get the bang for their missiles. Is attacking these key infrastructure because they really can't go up against the duck blow for blow. So they're gonna attack what's gonna hurt you you Americans in your pockets, making you pay more for goods. Okay, stocks slide and oil prices climb as Iran says it could counter ground invasion because they were talking about sending the Kurds into Iran. But now the stocks are sliding because Iran's saying, "No, we can counter your ground invasion. That's not going to do anything to us. You got to come into Iran. We got the mountainous terrain. Now, if what's his name was in the mountains, they wouldn't have got him the way they got him. He was in Tehran. So that's flat surface. You could have had the mountains and be deep under. You had the mountains over you, and all that bunker shit and all that. So you got to go on the ground. And good luck with that. He got missiles coming out of the ground from random places all over the country. That's why they're bombing that place to smithereen, because they don't know where all these missiles, they just popping up out of the ground. So they think, I'm just going to bomb it to smithereens, dramatically reduce the effect of them shooting back at us. And, we're going to go from there. But what they don't understand is they don't understand that they've been planning for this for a long time. Retail gas prices also continue rising, with the nationwide average price per gallon now $3.25, up more than 30 cents from Sunday. Shit, I already noticed the change. Like I said, the day the bomb struck, the next day, gas prices went up. We were at 289. Then it went to 295, and then today I paid 305. We'll see. And he's saying the average is 325. I mean, that's still affordable. It's high, but still affordable. But you're gonna feel 325. You're gonna feel that. It might even creep up to 4, depending on how long this goes on. I think it's going to keep going on because of Revelation, the 6th chapter. That price of bread is going to go up, man. After a relatively calm trading session on Wednesday, the price of U.S. crude oil shot higher by more than 8% on Thursday, briefly rising as high as $82 per barrel. Since Sunday, the price of U.S. crude oil has risen 20% to its highest level since July 2024. The international oil benchmark also rose 4%. Stocks resumed the sell-off that started earlier in the week. At the closing bell, the S&P 500 was down 0.6%, and the NASDAQ composite was lowered by 3%, 0.3%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell more than 1,000 points. Damn. At one point in the late afternoon, but closed lower by 785 points or 1.6%. So that 1,000 points sound like that's bloody, man. 1,000 points. Hey, man, that sucks. It means people are taking their money out the stock market. They don't like that uncertainty. They was willing to, and they don't tell you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. So a lot of y'all took a big hit. You gotta wait for it to go back up. That's why you don't want to be trusting in this bullshit, man. That's why you gotta store your treasures in heaven, like the Lord told you to do. Now keep your mind on this nigga stupid ass casino he calls a market. Energy stocks were the best performing S&P 500 sector, while the consumer staples, materials, and industrial sectors were the biggest losers. So yeah, energy stocks is where you think the duck's gonna make money. You know, he's promising to bring those different tankers in the Strait of Hormuz. Come on, man. China's actually in talks with Iran. They still get oil from the Strait of Hormuz, so their economy might still be good. So they're still going to be able to get oil while you can't. They're still going to be getting aid, and they're probably going to strengthen their relations with China in order to get food and other things like that so they can maintain their economy. But over here, you got to pay an arm and a leg, and you got to pay to help with these missiles that he going to run out of. You got to pay to replenish his munitions. You got to fund the beast. And who's gonna be fit with the bill? Everyone over here. Well, mostly you poor. Even if you somewhat rich, you're fucked too. You sitting on millions. You rappers and all that shit. All of y'all gonna fit the bill. You ain't got a choice. You put your money in his stock market, right? You got your money in his bank. You out of here. You don't own anything here. Esau owns you. You're a slave that thinks you own shit, man. You don't own shit. You don't even own the stocks that you have in your portfolio. You just borrowing cash, man. This is less than a week since it began. There are few signs that the war the U.S. launched on Iran is slowing. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi told NBC News on Thursday that he is confident Iran could confront the U.S. if it tries to invade. So that's why the stock market's going down. People got scared when they said that. Oh man, they're confident that the U.S. they can confront the U.S. if it tries to invade, because they were saying, all right, we'll send the Kurds in there. Those stupid ass Kurds are gonna get destroyed. That's what I think. You lie to somebody one time, but 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. How many wars you gonna fund the Kurds, man? That's just the dumbest group I ever heard in my life. But a lot of them said they weren't even gonna fuck with him. All right, they're tired of trusting in him. And then Turkey said, Turkey don't want you arming them niggas. He don't fuck with the Kurds. So Turkey might have something to say about that too. On Tuesday, President Donald Duck said he was ordering the U.S. International Development Finance Corp to offer political risk insurance and guarantees for the financial security of all maritime trade, especially energy traveling through the Gulf. Like, if you gonna trust the Duck, you probably gonna charge you an arm and a leg, and still not get the shit that you need to get over. Yeah, I'm gonna pay for the Duck's insurance, man. Nigga just wants your cash. Foolish. Insurance brokers say they are engaging with the administration to try to restart ship traffic off Iran's coastline, but hundreds of ships remain stuck. The Strait of Hormuz off Iran's southern coast is a key passage for about 20% of the world's daily oil supply. Since the U.S. and Israel first struck Iran on Saturday, almost no traffic has passed through the waterway, leading to concerns that it could lead to a global oil supply problem. And who's going to trust in you if you just got a $1 billion radar system that got blown up by a $35,000 drone? They're supposed to, if you couldn't protect that $1 billion radar system, they're supposed to think that, you know, your ships, you got to spend 12 million on shooting down drones. Who knows? And while you're bombing them, since you're destroying them and diminishing their capability so much, why don't you stop moving those ships now? That's why it don't make any sense what's going on. A lot of the shit, you know, you watch it and follow it, it don't even make any sense. From what he's saying, if I was bombing something smithereens and I was beating them down while they're still on the ground, and then bring those ships to a safer place. Aragachi said that Iran has no intention at the moment to close the strait, but added that as the war continues, we will consider every scenario. He said that the international oil tankers were not a target either. Beyond Oil, Qatar, which is the world's #2 exporter of liquefied natural gas to the world, has halted production due to the effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz and due to military attacks on Qatar Energy's operating facilities. U.S. natural gas prices has risen about 4% since Sunday as a result, but in Europe, natural gas prices have soared more than 50%. Damn. So it's going to be tough, but all this is going to come here to Babylon too. It's going to be tough too. But the duck's probably thinking, all right, well, you know, it's going to hurt us for a little bit, but we'll be able to withstand the blow more so than Iran. They got the most sanctions. We're bombing them, putting hell on them. And, you know, we think if they can, you know, put so much hell on them that, you know, they'll give up and, you know, want to negotiate with me. And that's Esau's playing with everything. Even when it comes to his MOTB, he about to put hell on y'all, and then to the point where you come to him and try to sit at the table and get the MOTB in your forehead or in your right hand. That's why you got to be built up in the spirit. A killing spree in Utah rattles a region and puzzles officials. 3 women were slain in 2 locations, officials said on Thursday. A frantic manhunt involving 4 states led to an arrest, but a motive was still unclear. It sounds like and 3 women were slain in 2 locations. Torrey, Utah in 2023, the authorities asked residents there and surrounding areas to lock their doors and stay home on Thursday before they arrested suspect in the killing of 3 women. Why is this saying in 2023? When 2 women failed to return from a hike through the Red Rock Desert of central Utah on Wednesday, their husbands headed to the trailhead to investigate. They came upon a scene of baffling horror. Both women were dead, and one of their cars was missing, the authorities said. Utah, huh? The Mormons. Wicked ass place, man. You can't do it, I'm telling you. Investigators racing to unravel the killing soon discovered a 3rd body of a woman in her 80s who had been slain earlier in the day at her home in the tiny farmer town Lyman, about 10 miles from the trailhead. The apparently random murders of 3 women in a quiet, remote corner of rural Utah at the doorstep of Capitol Reef National Park touched off a frantic manhunt that sprawled across 4 states and prompted frightened residents to grab guns and stay up all night as lookouts for their families. The hunt for the suspect ended early on Thursday morning when the police in the tourist town of Pagosa Springs, Colorado, arrested a 22-year-old Iowa man, Yvonne Miller. Can't make this shit up. Esau. Iowa man who killed 3 Utah women said it had to be done. It had to be done. That's a spirit created for vengeance. Read it. It says an Iowa man who shot and killed 3 Utah women at random without warning in central Utah had no prior connection to his victims and no ties to the area, but claimed it had to be done to steal their cars, according to prosecutors. Mm-mm. No ties to the area, nothing. There's no motive. It doesn't even make any. Why would somebody do that? Oh, he's just crazy. No, it's because of the Lord. Job 4:7. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? The Lord did that. The Lord does all these things, man. I ain't even gonna grab all the precepts, but I'm gonna grab a couple of them. Isaiah 45 and verse 7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. He does it all. He does it all. So give the Lord his credit. Caught you on a trail in Utah. The Lord's not playing around with you women. He's no respect. 3 women, 80 years old. No respecter of persons, man. No respecter of persons. Ecclesiasticus 38, verse 28. No, Ecclesiasticus 38, verse 20. I don't know why I keep missing this precept. Am I in the right chapter? Maybe it's 39. Ecclesiasticus 39 and verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. So you think it's for the car, you listen to the news, but through the Spirit, the Lord sent this man. Yvonne W. Miller, 22 years old, and he looks happy too, because he did what he was supposed to do. The Lord programmed him to be like that. Blakesburg, Iowa, was charged in 6th District Court Thursday afternoon with 3 counts of aggravated murder, a first-degree felony. He is accused of randomly killed 3 women in Wayne County, including a woman in her 80s at her home in Lyman, and 2 women who were hiking on Coxcomb Trail just off State Route 12 between Torrey and Teesdale. Lord he ain't even from the area. White House welcomes Congress green light for Iran conflict. I think they were looking, I forgot what this was about. Let me jump down. So they have no Air Force, they have no air defense, he said. All of their airplanes are gone, their communications are gone. So why don't you just get these ships going? Duck said Iran was calling and saying, how do we make a deal? I say, you're being a little bit late, the duck said. We want to fight now more than they do. Do you? I don't know if I believe that. While the duck has broad authority to launch military action without a formal declaration of war, Congress must by law be notified within 48 hours of hostilities beginning. Secretary Marco Rubio has maintained the duck administration complied with the requirement. Johnson has said duck administration notified the so-called Gang of 8, a bipartisan group of the top 8 congressional leaders before the strikes. On Tuesday, Duck submitted a resolution to Congress telling lawmakers that the threat from Iran had been untenable and diplomatic efforts were exhausted. The Republican president has previously ordered military operations without congressional approval, such as U.S. strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities last year and the seizing of Venezuela President Maduro in January. To begin with, no presidential administration has ever accepted the War Powers Act as constitutional, not Republican presidents, not Democratic presidents, Rubio, a former senator, said. Sound like he's doing whatever the hell he wants. Duck wants to help pick Iran's next leader as the war stretches into day 6. So now you want to pick leaders. This dude killed a chick and I don't know, this dude had sex with a girl that was working with him, and then she somewhat commits suicide. Some sketchy ass shit that's going on in these governments. You want to intern, you women be wanting to intern. Let me read a little bit of this. You know, you go work for one of these dudes and he look at you. This dude's married and everything, but then he hire your young ass because you look cute, and then he take it from you. Crazy shit, man. Texas rep Tony Gonzalez has admitted for the first time that he had a sexual relationship with his former staff member who killed herself last year. Man, that's all. I was reading this article, man. Just crazy shit, man. Because you women, man, you just don't get it. You don't want to follow the law. You want, oh, I'm independent. I want a career. I'm doing good. You going into some wicked asses because you're wicked. You want to get in. You want to work next to the duck. Good luck. Good luck, man. Azerbaijan says Iran struck its territory as war spills over border. So Iran's being accused of a lot of shit. And I don't know if all of this shit's true, but maybe it is. They getting bombed. But to attack, yeah, I put in Iran attacked Turkey, Cyprus, and Azerbaijan. In early March 2026, amid an expanding war involving the U.S. and Israel, Iran was accused of launching attacks against several regional neighbors, including Azerbaijan, Turkey, and Cyprus. But I was hearing reports that they said they didn't even do it. So that's why, there's conflicting news articles on this situation. But if it benefits them going to war, it seems like it's lining up with exactly what the duck wanted to do in the first place. But I'm ending here. Lord's will, this is edifying. Shalom.